Let's have a no bullshit conversation about AI and mental health. I'm starting to see a lot of things pop up, not just in my own life, but you can see it taking place around you with everyone, this new looming news cycle about AI. And the strange thing about it is, I don't know why it's making the news cycle now. I'm glad it is. I mean, it gets people to look at what I'm saying. But the problem is this. It's bringing in AI as a thing of fear. Okay, that's not the way something that can help you should be brought in. So I want to try to counterbalance some of the negative things that you're hearing about AI. And one of the problems is that no one is clearly defining what AI is yet. There are obvious categories, and people in the know, but people, for the most part, especially in general society, are just hearing these words AI, and it's like saying humans. That's a way, way, way huge overgeneralization. So let's begin, and you can watch some of my other videos where I talk about there's different kinds of AI. To make it very simply, we can talk about generative AI, which is going to be things like making pictures and videos and all that kind of stuff. And then there's the, I forget the name of the other one, you can let me know in the comments, where we're talking about large language models and those kinds of things. Now, we'll get into that more in depth in other videos. You can see other stuff I've said about it. But specifically, I want to narrow in on the idea that AI is having an effect on our mental health. And I want to talk about before, during, and after. And let's begin with before. AI right now is being sold as this thing that is looming, that's going to take your job and eat your children. I mean, it's just horrible, some of the stuff I'm hearing. And I have to wonder if part of that is an effort to control AI by using your fear to get you not to learn it. And I was brought up as a debater, and I taught argumentation and debate. And one thing I know about debate is you have to understand both sides of an issue to be able to argue either side effectively. It doesn't matter what you believe or what the opponent believes. You have to understand the background, the setting, most importantly, the definitions. You have to understand both sides of the issue. Otherwise, you're just talking shit. So I want to be very, very clear. When I am talking about AI, I'm looking at both sides of the issue. I understand the negative, and I also understand the positive, and I'm trying to give you both sides so you can make an informed decision. But one thing is certain, a decision will be made by you or for you. So you have to determine now, while you still can, which direction you're going to go. So the past, which is quickly becoming the current, we've got this situation where people, especially Generation X, we don't want to hear it. We've seen it all before. But the idea we've seen it all before, ignore it, should simply become we've seen it all before, now we know what to do, right? We shouldn't allow our laziness or our belief that we're owed something for the last 30, 40 years by corporation, society, or anybody else stop us from realizing if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And we seem to forget that. We grew up in a generation that knows it's most of the time all about the money. And if the current situation around the world isn't, I don't know what will convince you. Hey, Henny, I'm recording. Chickens. So the problem is you have to reframe your thinking about AI, and it's difficult to do because of your current mental health. I'm not saying that you need to see a mental health professional. That is up to you. I am not a mental health professional. But what I am saying is, even living here in Cambodia, I can feel the underlying tension, the fear, the unknown that's facing you right now in the United States. You don't know what's happening from one moment to the next, and that has become normalized. And that's kind of strange that we're so quick to accept everything and normalize it. So when we see opportunities come along, we don't touch opportunities anymore. I can understand not getting upset or worked up or emotional about the latest news cycle when it comes to fear. But opportunity? And you cannot deny with AI there is opportunity. But the problem is you are facing cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is the psychological situation where you believe something and now you're encountering evidence that says that belief is wrong. And being Generation X, we're not quick to change our mind on anything because we've been taken for a ride many times, so we're not getting back in the car. But the problem is if you don't get back in the car, you aren't going anywhere. We have to kind of analyze, is it fear and emotions that's stopping us from looking more into this? Is it thinking we're too old, it's a young person's game? Is it thinking, there's nothing this is going to do for me, I'm so set on retirement? Understand, and I don't know about your personal situation, but for most people like me, our retirement is contingent upon decisions being made right now. And those decisions being made and the decision makers are putting their money in AI. So whether or not it works or it doesn't work, they're going to make it work because like them, they expect a return on investment even if they have to manufacture one. So it's not a question of whether or not it can work, whether or not it's a bubble. The question is, how are they going to find a way to charge you for it? Because they have to recoup their investments. And how are you going to find a way not to pay it? That's what it comes down to. So when we look at the mental health associated, we see it's our mental health, I think, sometimes, and some of you will get angry and defensive. I'm not saying you have mental problems. I'm saying that right now, as a Gen X male, you got a lot on your mind. I don't care if you do have money, more problems, or if you don't have money, same problem, you got a lot on your mind. And that anxiety, that fear of the unknown, whether you admit it or not, might be blocking your ability to learn. When you got to think about rent, you don't want to learn Python. When the boss is screaming at you to do what you got to do and you're worried about jobs and spouses and kids and everything else, you don't have time to sit down and study the large language model. You just don't have time and you don't have the mental capacity, so you can't remember. You're not alone. I'm all the way on the other side of the world in what some people would consider paradise, and I can't turn my mind off at night because of stuff that's happening there. It can't help but affect you and color everything you see. But you've been here before. You've got to be able to put on sunglasses and block out that light so you can see what's really going on, so that you can focus. It is not about the past. You can't change the past. You can only take the learnings from the past. Don't look at the past as anything else. Don't take emotions, take nothing from the past, but what you learned and what is valuable. If your mind starts to stray to other stuff, that ain't part of the package. Leave it at the door. Let one of them, Amazon people steal it. Get what you need from the past and bring it forward. That's when I talk about wisdom, selling your wisdom. In all of the shit that you've been through in your life that you think is horrific because only you've been through it, I'm gonna tell you right now, you don't know anything. And all of you are like, what did he say? Yeah, that's the attitude we all feel. You don't know what I've been through, but the truth is we've all been through the ringer. But what we tend to bring forward is the bad feelings and the bad emotions. We forget about the fact that what was also in that lesson was the lesson. And the only thing we need to bring forward from the past is the lesson, not the emotion. So if you learn how to divorce the emotion from the lesson, you take the lessons, that's called learning. And you have a lot of it, which is why I say, what is that? Let me see. Where'd you find that? That is why I say that if you've got all these lessons you've learned, stop talking about the bad time you had in class, take the notes from the lessons, package it, and sell it. That's what you should be doing as Generation X. Look, girlfriend found a bird's nest. We got so many birds around here, and that's not even a chicken. We feed the chickens. What the chickens don't eat, the other birds. So we've got basically an aviary in our backyard that I'm feeding. Y'all help me out. Subscribe. I got to feed a bunch of birds. And I know you have chickens of your own to feed. Okay. Where was I? Yes. So if you're really planning to start Bitcoin investing, AI, whatever the hell you think is going to help you, you've got to make space in your brain for it, or you'll never succeed. Part of why I created Simple Agentics, and it didn't go over real well when I started, is I wanted Generation X to understand you have to clear the runway before you start landing new planes. And that didn't go over because most people, especially us males, we don't want to admit we're dealing with some shit up here. You know, when we hear the word counseling, all we hear is, oh God, divorce, I'm paying for it. Counseling, they're going to tell me why I'm wrong because I'm a man. That's what we hear. And so mental health, we're like, I don't need that. I have vodka. You know, I don't need that. I have the latest Chiba Chiba strain. And so rather than dealing with it, we anesthetize it. You know, I want to be sedated. Not an original idea. But in your anesthetization, what ends up happening is you don't get shit done. And now it becomes procrastination. How do we handle that? Well, I like to go, and now we've talked about the past of the mental health. Let's talk about what to do about your current mental health. Remember, I'm not a mental health professional. I'm going to be honest with you. I have the same issues you do. I've done a few things about it. I became an expat. I corrected some things in my life, and that's a whole nother channel. But you got to clear the runway. And part of clearing the runway is admitting that there's all these other planes on the runway that need to be cleared. So you got to go through the clearing process. And I don't care if you do the woo-saw, yabba yabba, or whatever you do, you got to sit down and recognize you are spending way too much time thinking about things that will not matter an hour, a day, a month from now. Certain things are just going to happen. How do you deal with it? The concept I use is called the Ray Donovan. Right? I love the show Ray Donovan. And I stopped watching it because I had to get to work. But Ray Donovan, I love the guy who plays it. He does a very good he does a very good portrayal of a fixer. Ray Donovan is a Hollywood fixer. And the way he fixes things is he has his own problems. Then he finds people with problems. And he uses their problems to solve his problems to solve their problems, everybody else's problems to solve other problems. He is a fixer because he recognizes that one man's problem is another man's solution. Okay, that's the first mindset change I had to make. And I said, okay, I got all these problems. I have to reskill. Okay, that's a problem. I don't have time, I don't have money, I'm having a hard time just justifying it. But I also have another problem. Gotta get paid. What if I could get paid for reskilling? Hence, Simple Agentics and other businesses that I am starting. Two things at once. Well, while I'm building my business, I'm also building my skill level, and I'm showcasing that on the living profile and portfolio that is Simple Agentics. So as you can see, I've got a bunch of problems, but I'm using some problems to solve other problems. That is how you start to not compartmentalize. That is how you start to get everything on the same track, going the same direction. So instead of things that are holding you back, they become things that are simultaneously pushing you forward. And if you got a lot of problems, it means you got a lot of momentum. As one of my viewers pointed out, and thank you for this, he pointed out that one thing about having a really bad situation where you don't feel like doing content because Google messed up or whatever, is it teaches you what to do wrong. And instead of sitting there and getting all befuddled about it, you need to come up with a solution. This goes on the list of problems. Now, how do I use this problem to solve other problems, or maybe even someone else's problems? Hey, Simple Agentics is a problem. It's a problem because I'm trying to help Generation X recognize not the fear it's going to take your job, but the opportunity. Yo, the paper's out there. Help me solve that problem. In the process, we can probably solve some of your problems. You don't believe me? Go read Napoleon Hill's book, where he talks about the secret to getting rich. The secret to getting rich is, hey, I'm still recording. Just a moment. Got to go handle a hen problem. Put the girlfriend on it. Chicken mama's handling it. All right, where was I? Go down here a little bit. Closer up. By the way, in case you're wondering, I am not using a fancy DSLR. I am using an Osmo Pocket 3. If ever there was a creator's tool that was created for creators and you just gotta have one, it is the Osmo Pocket 3. I am not sponsored by them. I am just telling you, when you absolutely positively gotta have a beautiful picture along with the movement, you just gotta have this camera. It's just awesome. All right. It follows you. Look, follow me, follow me. Anyway, back to it. Presently. How can you possibly say you don't know how to learn when you can simply use AI to create a learning plan specifically for you, your schedule, everything you need? There's no more excuses. Come on now. The 13th commandment, thou shalt not lieth to thyselfeth. You know better. The tools are here. You need to get them while the tools are free or at least low priced. I guarantee you, pretty soon the tools are going to be very, very expensive. So you better learn how to either build your own tools or use the tools that you got and get them locked in, because in a year, here's one change that will definitely affect you. You are going to need tools to get things done with your job or business. And if you don't understand those tools, somebody's going to understand them and charge you a lot of money for those tools. As the smart people are saying now, hey, look, AI isn't going to take your job. Somebody who uses AI to do your job quicker and easier is going to take your job. That's what's going to happen. Or I talked to a client a couple of days ago and I said, what's going on with your business? How are you following up on leads? And she says, my assistant. What do you mean your assistant? Well, my assistant's my niece and I hired her and blah, blah, blah. Is she keeping 24/7 track of your business metrics and all of the analytics you need to be successful in today's business environment? I'll ask her. What do you think? That is why AI is going to replace a lot of people. Because, you know, nepotism aside, you're not going to get a job if you can't use the tools, if the tools create a much more effective and faster result. And let's face it, we are all about results, and results mean money. Have you forgotten? It's the 80s all over again. Look at the storm brewing. Wow, it's starting to rain out here a little bit. I'm gonna keep going. That is one bad thing about the Osmo Pocket 3 is that you can't have it in the water. So I will have to move to the Osmo Pocket 4, which is the square one, and I can be in a storm and a hurricane and sitting here and going, my next point is, anyway, so you need to create your learning plan and get it going. The problem is you've got to, here's the thing. Here's how you deal with depression. And remember, I'm not a doctor, but here is the straightforward, no bullshit thing you got to do to deal with anxiety and depression. Every day you must do these three things. Number one, get out of the house. Go for a walk, go for a drive, go for a ride, just go to the market, walk around Walmart. Do what you got to do. I know you don't want to be around people, you don't want to be seen, you're smelly, you smell it. Go walk in the mountains, the forest, down the neighborhood. Go out of the house once a day, every day, religiously. Number two, talk to a human. I know, not your AI chatbot, not on the phone, not doing this. Go outside and talk to a human. Make it a stranger so there's no baggage. They know nothing about you. Be anybody you want to be. Just talk to a human face to face every day. And third thing you got to do every day is when you get up in the morning, you have got to write down everything that comes to your mind. Get up in the morning, grab a sheet of paper. After you go to the restroom and take your literal dump, take out a sheet of paper and take your mental dump so you won't spend the rest of the day complaining that your stomach or your brain is too full. I'm not saying write a list. I'm saying just put down a piece of paper and for 15 minutes, just scribble, draw stick figures, write what's on your mind, write a list. When you're done, ball it up, throw it away, keep it. I don't care what you do with your shit. Figuratively or literally. Get it out of your system so you can start the day fresh with a recharged mental battery. If you do those 3 things every day, you will see a marked increase in your ability to handle other people's shit. And now you can begin to create a proper runway so that new planes can land and you can have a more efficient delivery system. That's what I would recommend. That's what I'm doing, and it's helping. You can see all of the shit I was going through from January 1st up to now, and you can see pockets where I was going through stuff and there was just nothing being done. And then you start to see where suddenly there's overproduction and there's stuff going on. What happened? I started putting these things into practice. It's helped me not get fully consistent. We're still working on it. I procrastinate. I know y'all waiting on that video. I have to cut it. I have to edit it. It's just so much work. But again, I am a work in progress. Everyone is a work in progress. Stop deluding yourself by watching people who have already created success. Don't measure yourself to somebody who's been doing it for years. I've been out here 6 months. If it was as easy as they make it sound, I'd be there. What they don't tell you is the very first one they did took years. Then from what they learned, they were able to speed it up. Don't measure and compare yourself on a finished product. Measure and compare yourself by where you are and what you are trying to create. Join a group of people like Sensible Agentics who are out here together in the streets trying to make it work. Yeah, you want to go join What's-His-Face's group. He's already made it. He don't care about you. He says he does. He's got other people in the group who might. But where are the groups where we're all at the same level and we're a tribe, we're a cohort, we're moving together? That's Simple Agentics. Subscribe, help me build this thing. That's what we want as a cohort. Generation X cohort, jump on board, help me. I'm out here doing all the work, testing all this stuff, dealing with Chinese LLMs, working all this work, and y'all sitting around watching me. Why would even subscribe? What's wrong with you? Sorry. Subscribe, join me. Keep track, find out what's going on. Because guess what? One day I will reach, just for sure, just sheer drive and determination. I will make it or die trying. The question is, are you going to sit back and watch? Are you going to grab a shovel, jump out here, help me dig a foundation? So whether you build your building in the community or you help build the general building, I don't care. Come help me learn. Lonely out here. And I know y'all watching, so quit lurking. Jump in, subscribe. Simple Agentics isn't me. Simple Agentics is us. Come on, let's build some businesses. Let's get paid. Oh yeah, part 3, I'm tired. I gotta go teach a class. Like you, I got a bunch of stuff to do and I have to fit everything in. I am up 3 or 4 a.m. every night because for you, it's like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I am editing, I am working on top of the other stuff I've got going. Why? Because I believe that rather than trying to build a $1 billion business or even a $1 million business at this point, I recognize that the simple goal of having enough money in the bank, not having to worry about the simple monthly bills, would be a major step. Just want to get there. Let's get there. Don't shoot for $1 million. Shoot for $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Hell, many of us simply $500 a month, if it was coming in passively, would be wonderful. But if you're shooting for $1 million business, it's going to take years. Along the way, you will have milestones. But stop. I know you have the big picture millionaire, but come back down to earth and join those of us that are in the trenches, digging the foundation, making it work. Set a realistic goal for now. Come on, let's go do it. Stop comparing yourself. That's why you have imposter syndrome. You ain't Mr. Beast. You're Mr. U. So do what Mr. U can do. And if you don't know what Mr. U can do, then come do it with us. Let's do it together and get it done right. Gotta run. I'm late for class. This is Keith over in Cambodia. Those of you in LA, y'all know I grew up in them streets, especially around Paramount, Artesia. How y'all doing?